I'm your host, Lou Carter, founder of Most Loved Workplace. The Leader Show brings together executives and leading thinkers to bring into focus our collective purpose and passion for what we do and where we do it. The search for occupational fulfillment, happiness, pride, and passion starts here. Hey, it's great to be here today on the Leader Show, talking with Dave Burritt. He's a great guy, great CEO of U.S. Steel, which is a most loved workplace. And it's great to have Dave on with us today. Hi, Dave. Nice to see you.
Hi, Lou. Great to see you again. It's great to be here.
Well, we'll be talking about a lot of things today, really about how U.S. Steel became a most loved workplace, how they continue to be a most loved workplace, not just about their steel principles, which date back to the 1900s, which is incredible that they've sustained these kinds of principles for so long, but just around also learn about their principles around safety, trust, respect, excellence, and accountability. A little bit more about Verdex, how they're getting to a carbon neutral stance, and a little bit about other types of new products that are coming on today. So this is great to have you here, Dave, and let's dive in.
Great.
So Dave, tell me what's happening now. Let's sort of today we've had some new things coming out with GM and new partnerships, new products, and how is that really creating and sustaining these great principles and most loved workplace that you've created at USD?
We're delighted to be named as a most loved workplace again. It's incredibly gratifying for our employees and for me, and really appreciate the work you do. I'd be remiss if I didn't put a plug in for your book. I tell you, I'm on page 140. I do this thing where I read 10 pages every night before I go to bed. I force myself to do it, but actually, it's a very good read. And I love your what do you call it, spark, your systemic collaboration, your positive future, your alignment with values, your respect, and then, of course, killer achievement. So I really appreciate this book because it aligns with our steel principles as a company, where safety is first, trust and respect, environmental stewardship, excellence and accountability, and then lawful and ethical conduct. And those are the foundations of everything we do. So while I'm reading your book, I'm saying, that's pretty cool. And then I remember the page 81, it talks about Big River Steel and creating that positive future. And that's our positive future here, along with the work that we get done at our integrated mills. Big River Steel is a mini mill making that Verdex steel already, which is about 75% less carbon intensive than an integrated mill. And we've already got a great agreement with our OEMs, most notably here with General Motors that was just announced. So we're excited about the future. It's what I like to say, it's a very green future. There's money in this green when you do it right, when you work collaboratively with your customers, and we're capturing market share. And that's because our employees are really making it happen. So we're very excited about where we are. We know we've had this ups and down type pass, but we're definitely in a very good place. And I would look at 2023 as a year of transition, a year of execution as we navigate what's happening in the geopolitical realm, the global economy, and the things that are right in front of us.
You couldn't have said it better. Your financial performance has been outstanding. You've been doing great in the market, and I like how you said green in several ways, right? There's opportunities for growing in the U.S. and the geopolitical environment, and you are growing, and you're bringing in even not just your principles, but with your customers. You're doing this with your customers, which makes you even stronger. I'm so glad you found that page with Big River Steel and the connection with Verdex and the positive vision of the future, which is what you really do great at U.S. Steel and what you've really brought forward under all different geopolitical atmospheres since in the 2017. Really. So you've led it since then and seen so many different iterations. And so thank you for bringing that up. Tell me more. Tell me about, let's dive into how your particular culture, how U.S. Steel really is I would just say agile, right, with the environment, and because you've run into and become into this new phase of being carbon neutral. In what, how did you move this huge ship in that direction with so many people thinking and doing different things? How, what was that shift like for you?
Well, we're always informed where we're headed by our customer. So we try to create that very tight knit relationship with the customer that then informs us of the future. So the more we understand where the customer is headed, the more we understand where the business should take us. And that's where, these steel principles come in, because we call it the virtuous circle, where our employees, frankly, have more interaction with the customers than what I do. I mean, they're dealing with them on a regular basis. So we focus on our employees, who then focus on the customers, who then reward the stockholders, and then creates this continuous circle where, when the virtuous circle, when the customers do well, of course, our stockholders do well. And when the stockholders do well, our employees do well. So, what we like to say, when we do well, we create an environment that's best for all. So, the transition for us was looking at the future, looking at where the customer is headed, and then looking at our primary challenges. We are incredibly cost intensive, we are capital intensive, we're carbon intensive, and we have a very difficult competitor dynamic, where we get thrown into the realm of being a commodity, so that people just care. Our customers often will just say, well, that's a cost issue, with the person with the lowest price to us win. And we're breaking that paradigm a bit as we start to go more green, more green, and set the standard for the first company to set a standard for 2050 carbon neutral, and then had the first company that was certified, first plant that was certified by Responsible Steel, so that we could actually demonstrate that we can make green earth steel. And over time, then we have the targets that we get to be able to deliver a less carbon footprint, including Vertex, which is 75% less carbon intensive than what's made at an integrated mill already today. So start with the customer, understand your challenges, and then we figure out what is it that is our competitive advantage. We have low cost iron ore range. We have the best finishing facility. We've got incredibly great innovative engineers, and we're strengthening that with better talent and stronger talent, leveraging the great talent that we have already. And then also we have the best mini mills in North America. So really, those competitive advantages we focus on, like focus on your strengths, right? You do the best you can with what your strengths are, and then you create this future of the integrated mills, which are steel mills that make steel by digging it out of the dirt, and the mini mills, which are more like scrap processors, highly efficient. So what we're doing is, the integrated mills are teaching the mini mills how to make that high-end, advanced, high-strength steel that the mini mills have not been able to make in the past. And so that's the differentiator for us, and that we're going to have the best of the integrated, best of the mini, and then together we create this best of both, which transforms into best for all, best for people, and now our most important customer, which of course is the planet. So we're obviously incredibly excited about the progress we've made, and we're not underestimating the challenge that it is to get to net zero carbon by 2050. There is a long way to go. A lot of innovation has to happen, but we're on a really good path right now.
Well, it's truly a learning organization, as I hear it, because you're teaching each other how to become even better at what you do best. And what a great thing to do. And that's what reinforces your culture and reinforces that search and practice of excellence. I'd love to hear more about that with the integrated and mini mills. With how does it happen? So are there, for instance, my assumption would be there are people in integrated mills and people in mini mills who are kind of like teachers, or people who help each other to learn or share knowledge for each of the mills. What does that look like in terms of learning process for each of those division units to become even better?
The secret sauce is really in the integration, where you take the integrated mill with the mini mills together. Again, the integrated mills are able to make the higher end type steels. The mini mills can do it a lot more efficiently. Like at Big River, they can make a steel coil in 40 minutes, which is a fraction of the time that it takes to make a steel coil at an integrated mill. But they can't yet make what we call like automotive exposed, like the surfaces of cars. They can make the inside of that. So what we do is we make sure that we have our engineering people and our commercial people working closely and collaboratively between Big River Steel, our mini mill operations, and our integrated mills, and they sort through that. It's no easy solution. I think we have something like 17 products that we're working through that take some time, and we have a long horizon to get things qualified with our customers. So one of the things we have to do, and the breakthroughs will come, we have to figure out how do we reduce that cycle time and get customer acceptance faster, and at the same time demonstrate that our product is superior to the competitors so that they will sign up for more. Because typically in a commodity business, all your customers will say, well, I got to have three suppliers. So it's a little bit of a dance we do, because if we get too far out in front of our competitors, then it's going to be hard for our customers to want to sign up for our product, because they want to have this tension related to cost. So what we're trying to do is become so differentiated and so much better in certain aspects of the business that we become the obvious supplier of choice. But it is no easy task. And we have Nucor and Steel Dynamics. These companies are formidable competitors, and they are the best at process improvement in the industry. But they don't have access to an iron range for pig iron and some of the things that you need to make steel. And that's a big competitive advantage for us. So we're trying to, how do we exploit those things and then also differentiate faster so that we can show at our Big River Steel that we can make this automotive exposed faster than what the highly competitive mini mills, other mini mills are. But it's a huge challenge, no doubt. But our people are up for it.
It's interesting and also notable to see how you're managing the necessity for cost while you're innovating, right? So the cost will affect pricing for customers. Thus, if there's too much innovation, R&D, and cost that goes into it, their prices will be affected. What is it like for you? Because I can see the CFO in you working, and it's so important to have this CFO mindset when you're in the CEO mindset as well. So, what is it like for you to bring together that cost slash R&D innovation from mini mills? Like, what goes into it for you and your team to think through it and time it properly? What do we look for in that timing and the appropriate nature of innovation versus production?
Well, it's not something that's easy, as I said. But what we do is we take best talent. You know what I like to say is best talent wins, best teams win. So we selected best talent for the integration team. We call it a transition execution office that is able to take the integrated and the mini mills. And these people are working full time to make sure that we leverage the works of the individual teams who have different strengths, you know, and frankly, some weaknesses that one or the other team shores up. And that a key concept, I think, and you alluded to this earlier about the learning organization. There's this notion that whatever comes our way, we have to embrace it. And it's kind of the term amor fati, lover of fate, you know. It's like designed to come and help us. So one of the mantras I have is thanks, I needed that. You know, it's or you hear other people say good. I think Jocko Willink, the guy with extreme ownership, says that. I embrace that. Our team embraces that. So when you get knocked down, when you're trying to integrate these things, when you're trying to come together as a team, or when you have something economic circumstance far beyond your control, say, okay, we need that. A perfect example for us was, you know, the pandemic. I can't believe how much benefit that's been for our productivity and our efficiency as an organization. Should have been doing this decades ago. But now we collaborate faster, instantly, because we're doing this. We do this all the time. The efficiency by which we communicate with one another is astounding. We call it work from wherever, as long as your supervisor agrees. Now, obviously, if you're at a facility, probably 90% of our people are in every day. but administrative tasks, whether it be legal or procurement or IT or accounting, and the list goes on, we give people the opportunity to work from wherever. If they're new, their boss is going to have them in. They're going to be collaborating, but this way of working is so much improved. And I just wonder, did I really need a pandemic to see what a great benefit this is? Because that collaboration is happening so much faster. You don't have to jump on a plane. You don't have to burn a few hours in transportation costs and create problems for the environment, frankly. And you don't have as many safety issues worried about, especially when the weather is bad, that people can work from forever. You have this dynamic, this ability to connect with people instantly. Probably the biggest challenge for people is they're working all the time, but it's also the satisfaction level. And just a statistic I just got from my HR today, and when we surveyed the people about work from wherever, over 99% of employees and managers say that their productivity has improved or is as good as it was before. So as good or better, 99%. That's pretty remarkable. And the same thing with communications. I think that number was 97%. So this work from wherever type collaboration is instant, and people are saving a bunch of transportation or travel time every day. And I just one quick success story. Got a great guy in M&A. He's got 3 little kids, less than age 5. He wasn't seeing them very much during the week. Now he has breakfast, lunch, and dinner most days, and he's still the kind of guy that'll send me an email after 11 o'clock at night. Fully engaged, but he sets the tone. We're listening more to our employees, and our employees are figuring out, your words, I guess, systemic collaboration, right? Oh, how is the best way to do that? And with the integrated mills and the mini mills to create this environment that is truly best for all.
And it requires being on the same page with such values, because what you're saying right straight from the top, you're valuing your M&A guy and his family and what his experience is, and he's showing you, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can, work even more, produce more, versus others who, for not that this doesn't exist, quiet quitting, who are quitting because they're not being heard by the CEO, right? And they're being forced into it and doing the Jamie Dimon, J.P. Morgan approach, which is just not working for many. 99% improved. That's huge.
When we think about this, when there was this great resignation, something like 26% manufacturing, ours was less than 4%. So it's definitely working for us. And I can't speak for what works for other companies. They have to decide for that. But when people tell me you got to be face to face in person every day, I know that's not right for us. But there's something great when you do get together. It's fantastic because you feel that energy, that collaboration, and there's certain things, events that you need to have where you have that type of interaction. But for most days, we're moving too fast for us to frankly go to another floor in our building or reach out to somebody in an in-person way when we can right now get them. Another example, my assistant, she used to travel an hour to work to get there at 6:30 so I would have all my stuff ready, all the stacks of paper. It's amazing how I don't need any of that paper now, except when we have in person, face to face. I can't help myself. I want her to print stuff off for me. Why I do that, I don't know. It's like the old habits, but it's clear to me this hybrid way of working is forever. And for our organization, it's really made a difference for our company.
It's truly green in many ways, cost savings and for the environment and carbon net neutral for everyone.
And weather's tough here in Pittsburgh, sometimes slippery. We don't have people slipping into the jet. They basically can work from wherever. And we have our devices that are set up. In fact, I have a purpose-built device. And when I was dialing in, it's like, okay, that one, for whatever reason, the zip code wasn't connecting. It's like I flip up my iPad and I'm talking with you. I think I was maybe a minute late to our meeting, but we can get connected so much faster. And we have other alternatives, different devices. And at some point in time, we'll have one device fits all, but ultimately, it's just the way we work. It's as natural. And the issue is you still need to respect people's time. I love work, so I'm going to be touching work every single day of the year. Other people may not feel that way, but they don't have to. They set the stage for themselves with their family, what's right for them, and be productive. And that's the real thing. The key learning for me that since I've been CEO is listen more to the people. Listen to what they have to say. Do what they want. That you can trust them. Trust and respect, of course, is our values. And in your Spark thing, it's the R in Spark, respect, right? And when you do that, I do think it really makes a difference.
It's huge, and it's listening and then doing, as you said, it's doing a cost benefit analysis. If I don't do this, what could happen?
We can go back. I can only imagine how we would have not made it through the pandemic if we didn't have this technology. It'd have been a disaster.
Even with us today, all I did was I sent a URL to you, and boom, Dave's right here. He just showed up. So I mean, all you have to do is send a URL to Dave, and Dave will show up in front of you. And it's that easy, really. And our productivity improves, and that's a huge number, 99% that improved. And how you move through that fire drill of the pandemic, and it's made your company even better. What kinds of things are we talked about this a little bit last time too? Is we were talking about, it was during the pandemic or just shortly after, how the U.S. government has helped in some ways, right, to bring steel back in America. What are you seeing now to help our industry? What are you seeing now as happening with collaborations with the government and things that you might even ask for different things to get a little bit more connection to the U.S. government, since it is U.S. steel, of course?
It's a really good point there because this issue of fair trade is really, really important. And I worked at Caterpillar as a CFO there for many years, and I was big time free trader. It had to be free or nothing else. And what I really didn't understand is just the bad actors that are out there. Even countries that are friends to the United States don't have fair trade. And so what we really need is we need to make sure that we have good leadership. And if you think about any sovereign state, any state, any community, any company or any family or individual, the top priority is going to be safety and security. And you got to get that. You have to make sure that you keep people safe and secure. And you can just imagine if you can't make steel or you can't have manufacturing and you can't make basic things for your community or take care of your family, they're not safe, they're not secure. And we saw during the pandemic where we couldn't get the masks or the PPE equipment, and because it was being single sourced in other places. I remember one of the auto guys, CEOs, had mentioned that the magnets for the seat belts came out of Wuhan, and they had to shut down their entire operations because they couldn't get the safety belts, and they'd never had any sourcing issues there before. But basic things you need to be able to make in your country. And what we found with the previous administration and the current administration, they get this fact. And they understand that, yeah, collaboration is important with other countries, but you need to be able to be safe and secure and take care of your own country as the top priority. And that means you need to be able to make stuff. And if you outsource all of that, you're basically saying somebody else is going to take care of you, and you trust them completely to have what you need when you need it.
And we're seeing that happening now in the U.S. with more U.S. hiring, more creation in the U.S., more uh, uh, sort of tax incentives for exporting. Right, I think that's really the key. Are you seeing that too? Taking some of those incentives and saying, we can export now. We'll create more here. That's part of the strength of our culture is keeping sort of the work in the U.S. so that you can have more fair trade. You can have less bad actors. This can happen, and we can build and improve upon an existing fractured system.
Well, we see with the CHIPS Act, with the infrastructure bill, with the Inflation Reduction Act, which has a lot in there for helping us become more carbon neutral. Now, much of that spending hasn't even happened yet. That's yet to come. And so that's where I get really bullish about the future for the United States because of the investments that we're making in the United States that will carry on. So I think that's a big change. I think inflation will probably be here for a while. Getting to this 2% seems a little tough. The delta, the year over year change should get less, but it will set, I think, at a higher level for the foreseeable future. But I think it'll be okay. Frankly, I think 2% is probably a bit on the low side. But over time, I think we get through this, and investing in the future is a good thing as long as it's productive. Now, if it's chasing stuff that isn't going to get real benefits, that could be an issue. And we always have to worry about some waste. But I think when it's focused on energy efficiency, focused on productivity, focused on those things that actually make companies better and employees better and customers better for the stockholders to be better, I think it ends up being a win-win-win-win for everyone.
And you're helping with everything from improving your equipment to improving your staff to improving the processes themselves, which helps the whole industry and helps you to connect into others who really want that. The closer you get to it, especially vehicle manufacturers who want that you could connect more closely into their value systems. And you've done that with GM very closely. How did that? So tell me about that. How you were talking about systemic collaboration and all about positive vision of the future. You mentioned the Spark model. Do you see that happening within your company as they sort of they work within your customer base? There does that help with not just prospecting, right, but also with connecting into other like cultures for carbon net neutral or for improving your processes?
You know, Common goals are very magical. This when you have common goals, you can solve things to the extent that we have customers that let us behind the tent and let our engineers think with them. We can make steels that would be just fantastic. The challenge we have is, again, that we get forced a bit into being a commodity. So to the extent that we can do these advanced high strength steel, what we call generation 3 steels, the ones that are moving towards uh, GHG neutral over time, we will have an advantage. But it's not like they're going to say U.S. Steel is going to be the single source for that. That is way off into the future. But that doesn't mean it shouldn't be an aspiration for us, because the closer we get to the customers, like with General Motors, the better the collaboration, and we're doing it with others. And that's one of the reasons we're taking market share, because of that close connection. Where other competitors are not willing to create that close connection and create differentiations toward the green future. And if they're not willing to do that, that's good for our employees, and it's good for our customers, because we will have the leading edge there. But we have no illusion how difficult some of these things are. I mean, there's going to be some breakthroughs in everything from carbon capture to hydrogen to all kinds of new technological innovations that are not going to happen in the next 3, 4, 5 years, but over time. I mean, that 2050 target, that will evaporate very quickly. But to the extent that we can get common goals, the greater the opportunity for us to come together. Because when you have common goals, you can manifest those goals together. And there's something about the obstacles. The obstacles end up being the way instead of standing in your way, because they help you overcome them when you're purpose driven towards the common goal.
And that's what always impressed me about what you do and how you bring your engineers into the environment of customers and you workshop with them. And to know that you actually provide that, it's almost like a consulting service, right? And it's incredible. People love it, and that's what makes you different, because you have that customer focus, the customer orientation, and it's pervasive inside of US Steel, pervasive inside of your customers as well. And that's what I want to know more about. Do you see with especially with moving from 75% moving up the curve to 2050, that you'll do more of that with working with more customers, working with a deeper bench of not just prospects, but also with just more people, right? In order to garner that kind of collective knowledge towards your 2050 goal.
That is definitely the future. I would say we've only just begun. there's a lot more collaborating that we can do. And we've actually brought in a chief technology officer with deep experience and heading towards first principles, of course, of physics, actually create the kind of breakthroughs that we need. But that doesn't happen if we just do it in our own think tank organization here. Those relationships, business is all about relationship, and it happens with our employees, with our engineers who are the best in the business, highly creative, very innovative. They need to get behind the curtain. And frankly, I need to do that better job getting those doors open so that our customers can just see how valuable they can be to help to solve their problems. Because we mentioned before the lightweighting we did with the rail car in just a short period of time. We're able to take a bunch of 15,000 plus pounds off a rail car. It's good for them. Uh, Very durable steel is good for us because it's higher margin steel, is better for the environment. So again, the win-win-win is there. But I would say we've only just begun. There is so much more we're going to do, and our transition execution office, the TEO we call it, with these high potential people full time working on getting this integrated and mini mill together, best of both towards best for all. And I'm really excited about it. But we have a ways to go, but we're accelerating.
I love what you said about the first principles in physics and these great engineers who are working on these first principles, because we could create things in vacuums. It's good. We create things for ourselves, customer zero, and then we bring it into the actual environment, client environment, like you did in the environment with the train. It was train, right? Wasn't that right?
Rail cars, yeah, gondola cars, yes.
And which you have a positive example, and it sounds like there's more examples to come.
There's more, but we need to figure out how to get the product development time dramatically reduced. And some of it's we've had such a big auto base, but we can leverage what we do in auto with advanced high strength steels, Generation 3 steel, and bring it to appliance, bring it to construction, bring it to other aspects of our business. And that's where the great advantage is, because I'll put our engineers up against anybody in this space. They are really remarkable, bright people that that know the breakthroughs. They just need to be given that opportunity to excel.
I just listening to an entrepreneur. He owned a $3 billion company that he brought up. It was a robotics company, and he's doing another robotics company. And he has this one hard and fast rule that it's part of his new company. He said, "Number one, I will only hire the best possible in the field, nobody else." And I'm hearing that through you today, right now. So I just have the best. So that they got that's who we have is the best, right? If you're not the best. Not really the best place for you.
We say best for all, right? Which means we have to have the best operations. And we have, I think it's 18 times better than the Bureau of Labor statistics on safety. So best operations starts with safety. You have to be the best partner. And that means with your customers, you got to create that intimacy. And for us, what we're working on is also is the best improvement in what we call our EBITDA multiple, which gives us the valuation of the company, because this is where we've been investing so heavily in the future that people see us as a show me story. And we look forward to getting our next mini mill fully built, which will be not just second verse, same as the first, second verse, better than the first, because it'll have an endless caster making steels that get us closer to that automotive exposed tipping point for mini mills. So we're pretty excited about it. But best is part of our mantra, and it's let's face it, it starts with best talent that can team and collaborate well, where we create. I'm finding myself using your words from your book, this systemic collaboration. It's really important that becomes part of the DNA.
It is, and the cross-functional management throughout your entire system, and everybody can collaborate and be part of those teams, which is what you're doing, and you're going to achieve this. We have so many great things that are on the horizon that people could be excited about for U.S. Steel and should be waiting for, because every single, not just quarter, don't wait for the quarterly earnings. It's going to be out. It's coming out because there's this strong culture, this culture of consistent improvement and continually engineering, being even better, right, than the best for all. And it's a constant improvement.
I still feel like we're in the infant stage. You know, we're learning to walk and run still. We're gonna be a lot better than what we are right now. I just see within our culture. You know, we've taken safety. We've had a great safety culture for many years, but we're doing the psychological safety, the 360 safety, right? Where people feel this inclusivity. And I'm on the board of National Safety Council, and they're working on these things too. I mean, let's face it, if people can come to work and really truly feel like they belong and are making a difference, that's incredibly empowering. And when you have the common values that we have, and we're creating this future that's, I mean, I'm just madly bullish on the future of U.S. Steel. I think we'll see more people being attracted to our company. In fact, we're seeing that now, whereas people may not want to work in Pittsburgh, but they don't have to, because we can do this connectivity thing. You can work from wherever. It's just a different world. And listening to the employees, they will invent the future faster than we can define it.
Employee listening, it's essential. I mean, David bringing together all aspects of Spark, systemic collaboration, positive vision of the future is so strong. Alignment of values, showing respect for everybody across the United States and bringing them on board, and of course, killer achievement, which is what he is dedicated to, giving resources and passion behind achieving that. And if you want to become a most loved workplace like David Burritt, go to mostlovedworkplace.com today and get certified.
In great companies, Lou's book too. Again, plug in your book, Lou. It's a really great book.
I was so glad to hear you talk about that today, and really awesome to have you on today, Dave. It's such always a pleasure to be with you and talk with you. Such rich information and knowledge about what's so central to the economic advancement of our country and our world in steel.
It's always great to meet with you, Lou. Thanks so much for what you're doing to bring people together. And you know, every time I talk with you, I feel the love and want to work a little bit harder. You know,
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you so much, Dave. Great to be with you.
all the best.